This episode is brought to you by JCPenney. Yes, JCPenney. And if you've been there recently, you know it's the place to go for jaw-dropping looks at brag-worthy prices. They've got something special for every style and budget, not to mention rewards and deals that make finding those hidden gems even sweeter. If you already shop JCPenney, you're already in on the secret. But if not, it's time to ask. Wait, am I sleeping on JCPenney? Shop jcpenney.com. Yes, JCPenney.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. When you visit the doctor, you probably hand over your insurance, your ID, and contact details. It's just one of the many places that has your personal info. And if any of them accidentally expose it, you could be at risk for identity theft. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second. If you become a victim, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily. How to Rediscover Your Identity After a Relationship Split by Eddie Corbano of lovesagame.com. When you go through the recovery period after a relationship split, you will sooner or later notice one very disturbing fact. You may have lost a good part of your true self. You simply aren't the person anymore that you were at the beginning of the relationship. This partial identity loss is one of the main reasons you feel how you feel today, the feeling like someone pulled the rug out from under you. What does this mean, and how is it actually possible to lose parts of ourselves? The identity loss after a relationship split. Most of us spend our times in the pursuit of the perfect one, the ultimate partner. The perfect one stands for happiness, security, love, and intimacy. Unfortunately, the one also includes the belief that all the personal issues we're struggling with our whole lives will just cease to exist, wiped away by eternal love. Society reinforces such beliefs. Ask my twin daughters about princesses and princes. There are consequences for these unrealistic expectations. Should we finally find this unique one, and this relationship can fill the emptiness we may have inside of ourselves, we will come to an inconvenient conclusion. Our life's happiness and fulfillment depend on this very relationship. So we do everything to nurture this belief. We hold on tight to this relationship. We cling to it as hard as we can. And why wouldn't we? Our life depends on it. Not all of us experience this to the extreme. Most of us will find ourselves in the middle somewhere. I was an extreme case back then. I used to tell myself over and over again that I couldn't make it alone. I needed her in my life to survive. I even told her that. And that is the biggest turnoff any partner could ever receive. It means that you're dependent, needy, clingy, and weak, all of which are traits that will drive your partner away, guaranteed. So, how did we lose ourselves? To lose yourself in love may sound shocking at first, but it's not that unusual. When we're in love, we tend to wear those rose-colored glasses. Everything is so fascinating and exciting. As the relationship continues and we tie our life's happiness to it, we often end up sacrificing our personal needs. But it's our own needs that nurture our true self. And without them, we become someone else, and it doesn't feel right. That is why it's so important never to sacrifice the very things you need to be you. The relationship wouldn't survive without you. And guess what happens should you ever break up? Your world is in pieces. And so is your personality. But there's actually good news now. You can build yourself up from the ground. Not only reclaim your true self, but also find a better you. How to rediscover yourself after a breakup. After being asked how to know who you are, Deepak Chopra said that this was only possible with practicing silent meditation. He said that with time and practice, you would experience a growing silence inside. This experience is your real self that will guide you to your life purpose. Meditation is an excellent way to reconnect with the person who you really are. If you manage to silence your mind, your fears, just be in the now, then what remains is simply good old you. I know from experience that this is not an easy task to accomplish, especially not after a loss when you tend to be everywhere, just not in the now. But I've had nothing but good experiences with meditation, especially through the turmoil of my own breakup. If you have the persistence and endurance, I promise you that meditation will change your life. Another great way to reclaim yourself is to do the things that you've always loved to do. This may sound trivial and standard post-breakup procedure, but I've noticed that as the years pass by, we do the things that fulfill and define us less and less. Maybe it collided with your ex's interests, or life simply got in the way, but doing these things again is a direct way to recover what was lost. Let me give you an example from my own life. I was a guitar player my whole life. It started when I was 9 years old, and as an adult, even considered a professional musician's career. I stopped playing cold turkey when my twins were born, because I had no spare time anymore, and everything was more important than the guitar. This was 5 years ago. I started playing again recently, and it just felt as if a lost part of me was somehow unlocked again. Making music is a deeply wired part of myself, and since I'm doing it again, I'm feeling happier and more balanced, so much more me. So, do the things that define you and make you happy. Make them a number one priority. It might also be a good idea to connect with an old childhood friend to relive happy times again. What I also do in my coaching and in the home study version of the Detox course is I give my clients a list of specifically designed questions and exercises that will help them discover not only the real them, but also their particular life purpose. Because these are the two things, rediscovering yourself and finding your life purpose, that you must aspire to if you want to get the best out of this devastating experience. And these, among other things, will also protect you in the future by showing you the path you should follow so that you never again derail from your predetermined path and stay true to the real you. You just listened to the post titled, How to Rediscover Your Identity After a Relationship Split by Eddie Corbano of lovesagame.com. And thanks a lot to Eddie for this post. Always good material from him when it comes to breakup recovery. I do want to offer some thoughts on the idea of life purpose, though. Of course, the idea of life purpose it's really endearing, right? Not only is it a very romantic and noble pursuit, but it puts us in action, it helps us question how deliberate our choices are, and it gets us in the rhythm of asking ourselves what we're passionate about and how we want to channel that passion into contribution. But in spite of all that, it's also a buzzword or a buzz concept, and it can easily take on a life of its own, leaving people dissatisfied if they don't feel as though they've arrived at what's really this impossibly grand conclusion as to why they were put on this earth. And in that way, it becomes a lot like the types of relationships that Eddie talks about us trying to lessen our attachments to. It's very easy to put all of our cards in the basket of life purpose, just as we might do with someone we love. And it's that same sense of imbalance that puts us at great risk of being hurt, and hurt in a way that's avoidable and not vital for our growth. So, whether it's a romantic relationship, the chase for your life's purpose, or anything in between, be mindful of what healthy detachment and separation from these things might look like. Okay, and with that, we're going to wrap things up for today, folks. I'm really grateful that you've joined as always, and I hope to see you again tomorrow as we dive into some parenting content. That's where your optimal life awaits.